Welcome to Entrepreneurs Lounge, the show that highlights success stories of young entrepreneurs making it in their different spectrums. Now, as usual, we're shooting at Daughter Showman exclusive furniture on Parklands Road in Westlands. My first guest is CEO, founder, director of Brand K Communications, Kevin's Randiek Okelo.
Ingrid, thank you.
Randiek.
You're only one of those persons who call me three names, so it's
Because I know all three names. We go way back.
Yeah, sure.
Kevin,
How many
you
years
know.
now? 7 years.
Kevin, you know if anybody knows
the baby
your
here?
story, both of us. Listen,
Sure.
you know if anybody knows your story, I feel like I partly know your story. So I'm very, very excited to be sitting here to tell your story, your entrepreneurial journey. So just start us off by telling us about Brand K Communications and how it came to life.
Wow, Ingrid again, thank you so much for having me in this particular set.
Always.
When I look at the Brand K Communications, it's now, I call myself, all those names is saying founder, CEO, director and all. But,
Proprietor.
Proprietor, you know, I mean,
Partner.
entrepreneur,
Everything.
all those bits. But
I'm
you
so
know,
proud of you too. The fact that we're here right now.
Thank you. It's the journey of life.
Amen.
But then again, Ingrid, I didn't have it figured out that Brand K Communications would be something happening today. And when I look at how I started to Brand K was born like 1 year after I'd left Nation Media Group. You know, me and you go back to the days when probably you're working in the biggest media house in this region.
Right. You've given my history too.
Let me give you a background.
Give me a
What
background.
happened is, when I was getting off media, I didn't have it planned out.
Right.
And I had my struggles when I was starting this journey that I'm doing today, where there was a time I was broke because I didn't just get off. I didn't have it registered. I didn't have really my mindset right. But all I knew was I was trying to build something of my own. And in the process of building something of my own that I have right now here is when I tell someone that post my media journey to what I'm doing right now, that I was a taxi driver during the night and a communications consultant during the day. Probably someone will not really get to mix the two.
Right.
But that's been part of my journey. And with the Brand K Communications that I have right now, key for me is how best can I serve humanity with what I have. My background is in communications, yes. Back in the days, like probably 4 years, the 4 years that the 4 years behind the scene was, I was a media mind. You're mingling up with anchors, you're doing events because I ended up serving within a marketing department whereby it's all events.
Right.
I would host events here at some time. But then again, I look at it right now and I'm like, it's the journey of life, the dots of life behind the scenes. I didn't have it figured out. Right now, yes, I think I have it figured out. And I'm just saying that, so help me God, because the journey is still long.
Now, I really, really like the fact that you said you didn't have it figured out. All you knew was you were working in this media industry. Everyone probably looks at you thinking, oh, he's making it big in life. You just said it yourself, you were broke. You wanted to do your own thing. How then did you zero in on Brand K Communications, and what exactly is it that you do right now with your company?
How I zeroed into Brand K Communications was, I'm a consultant. So I wanted to strike a niche in terms of what I do. So I had 3 angles. I was being known that Kevin's will host events. At the same time, I was being known that my background is in media. But then again, at the same time, I was playing a role in terms of advising clients on where to advertise their products. And in the long run, I felt like other than working as an independent unit as Kevin's, which yes, I double up by working as an independent consultant,
Right.
despite the fact that Brand K Communications was there. I say that in order for me to professionalize services and really look at and really position myself as a brilliant person who knows what he's doing, Brand K Communications had to come into existence.
Right.
But then again, in the process of building up Brand K, I didn't build Brand K instantly by saying that, hey, here's the company. And he is the company running and he is the business running.
Right.
You know what? People buy people. When I say people buy people is, Ingrid probably sometimes will come to buy Kevin's simply because he believes in Kevin's.
Yes.
So what's happening right now
I believe in what you do.
Yeah,
I've seen your products, and he said, you know what, let me come and buy Kevin.
Yeah, exactly. So I translated that to from people buying Kevin's, which is guys will call me K, and I converted that into brand K, Integrated Marketing and Communications Limited, which I operate right now.
But even with that said, your background working in the media, your background working in employment, what role did it play in shaping you into the entrepreneur that you are today? Or would you have skipped that part, and if you could do it differently, I just dive right into brand K communications?
Wow, my professional experience within the media house, specifically, I give really so much credit to the persons who gave me an opportunity to work with the Nation Media Group, because I worked under 3 departments in Nation Media Group. One was I had some stints at corporate affairs, had some stints in the editorial, had some stints in commercial, and left within the brand management department. Right. Now, what that did unto me is, within the commercial department of the former media houses working in, was a department whereby you'll pitch, you'll develop proposals, reach out to clients, present it for them to advertise within the company. Now that kind of shaped my mindset to what I do right now, whereby I will look at a service and I'll be like, before selling this service, I need to develop a proposal onto it. So that particular background experience was really vibrant for me, because it also gives me exposure, post-exposure within the industry, the confidence in terms of how I relate with people. Some of the networks too, which I've reached out to probably give me maybe a bit of services that I also operate under my company right now, including when you talk about clientele relations. Clientele relations is what, again, I used to do at Nation Media Group, whereby you're dealing with clients. So key for me, even when doing my entity right now, what I know is the client comes first. I need to have integrity, because right now guys are not buying Nation Media Group, guys are buying Kevin's. And if at K to use the word, and if at any particular time I make a mistake out of it, it's now me. So I mean, that's been the process bit of it, and I really find it exciting. Now coming to what I do is, wow, I'm walking a journey of purpose. So for me, it's no longer even about business. And when I talk about the journey of purpose here, is I'm saying, what is it that I want to be remembered with? There's an example I always tell people, and maybe they tend to imagine that I'm playing modest. I'm always saying that I don't want to be a Bill Gates. But then again, can I create like probably 5% or 6% of what Bill Gates does? And for me, in terms of the service angle of the company, I operate 4 services. 1 is the business communications consulting. 2 is moderation. 3 is training, so whereby I facilitate trainings around communications, business. I coach startups on how to package their product. And 4, I have such a huge interest on young people. And under the young people category of my arm is whereby I do sessions on business entrepreneurship, sessions on public administration, and sessions on civic education. So that package into 4 is what now makes Brand K, Integrated Marketing and Communications Limited.
Now, as we speak about Brand K, just to mention a few of your achievements, and the reason I feel like I can talk about this is because, like you said, I know you. So in 2016, you took part in the YALI program, which is a popular program. I'll let you talk to us about that, and also tell us how participating in the YALI program fed into your journey as an entrepreneur. How did that help your business?
Wow. And the reason why I say wow is the Young African Leadership Initiative came into my path months after me leaving Nation Media Group. And as I say, I didn't have it figured out. I didn't really have it clear in terms of where I wanted my purpose to take me to. And the YALI thing came. And let me give you genesis of how YALI got into my space. So within my taxi staff, because I'm trying to really make ends meet, in that probably I've run out of my savings, and here it is. I have my vision of being a communications consultant, but then again, I'm trying to complement my vision with a taxi drive at night. So one day, Ingrid, it's rainy, it's cold, and there it is, I'm trying to hope that I can get a client to take home. And you know, the client I take home is a Yali alumni.
Wow.
So this is what happened. This is what happened. Call it fate, call it grace. I don't know how to call that. In the process when you're walking, as in when we're driving, because she wanted to drop a friend and then she drops last. You know, she observes me, so she's trying to engage me, but I'm a bit cold. I'm a bit cold in the sense that, hey guys, where are you going?
Yeah, I'm
Show
trying
me
to
where
do my
you're going.
job.
I just want to do my job and all. But then again, I just figured out it's like the observing me in terms of how I was operating, how I was, and then the question arises, hey, we just want to know, are you a full-time taxi driver or what do you do? So here it is, I hesitate to say, am I a full-time taxi driver or am I trying to use this to complement my services? Then something that just tells me, Kevin, just tell them the truth. And I was like, hey, I'm using this particular avenue to make a means of complementing what is it that I want to do. And you know what? They tell me, Kevin, we want you to apply for a certain program. That's Yali. And you know what, Ingrid? With all the tech savviness that I am, with all probably the openness that media had given me in terms of information, I used to Google online to find a link for applying to Yali, but I didn't. I used not to get. So here it is, Irina Doch. I still hope probably she works for Mater Hospital. Irene tells me, hey, Yali link is closing 2 days. That was on Friday night. I have Saturday, I have Sunday. Monday is the closing date. So on Sunday, I think she shares with me the link. So I accept the link and I'm like, the application process is tedious, in that it's long. Then I ask myself, am I going to do this? Then on Monday, because one of the places I used to sit in is that I decided just to wake up on Monday and because it's during the day and it's part of my services. So I went and sat down and tried filling in the application. But then again, because it's last minute, it's a long process. I struggled. 7 to 10, I'm not filling it in. 10 to 1, I'm not filling it in. And it's closing at 5 p.m. Then in the afternoon, I decided to push myself that I have to submit this thing. Ingrid, I submitted it like 5 minutes to deadline.
No way.
Yes, I did submit that application 5 minutes to deadline. And I thank God that that was the genesis of my Yali journey. I got successful, got into the program, got done with it. Now, Yali opened me up to my Pan-African dream. I think the access to the 15 countries of East and Central Africa, at a time when I really felt my esteem had been interfered with, at a time I really felt like I was down, was now what opened me up to the Pan-African dream and to the purpose that I keep on saying right now, that despite running the business, I just want to leave an 8% of a legacy in which I'll be remembered with. Now, Yali, through Yali, there's a time I reached out to one of the partners during a session I was invited at the center. And this partner, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on set, it's a global company which is based in the United States. And I reached out with a pitch. Hey, Mumbi, could you please give me a chance to collaborate within your business? And Ingrid, that was the genesis of me handling a global project.
Wow.
And this happened again last year. A global project whereby I was given a chance to handle the Undersecretary of the United States of Commerce, who was coming locally to launch a project. This particular project ended up, again, enabling me to work with, I think, 4 countries. That was Nigeria, South Africa, Ethiopia, and Kenya. The reason I'm saying that is you got to believe in the power of young people. And not each and everyone does that. So for this particular client, who was just a partner, and because of just my association by being an alumni of Yali, decided to take a risk on me that never worked with me before. All they requested me is, Kevin, can you do a proposal? I did a proposal. I really took time to really develop that particular proposal because I wanted to get it right, which I thank God so much that I ended up getting it right. But if there's one client who has opened up Brand K Communications in terms of me thinking complete global, was this partner that ended up giving me that confidence of working for them just by virtue of being an alumni of the Young African Leadership Initiative.
Randy, I'm so engrossed in your story that I'm even forgetting about time my producer's about to bite my head off. However, it's impossible for me to go without asking you this question. You started off by saying when you went into brand care, what an impressive story. Like I have goosebumps all over my body just by listening to you. However, before we go, you started off by saying when you started, you didn't even know what you were doing. You didn't have a game plan. You didn't know what you were doing. Now, here you are. So many doors have been opened up to you. So many avenues have been opened up to you. You felt validated in your dream to open up Brand K Communications. The question is, what's the dream then? Where do you see yourself as Brand K Communications 2 years from now, 1 year from now, 3 years from now?
1 year, 2 years, 3 years from now, from a point of when I didn't have it together, to a point of when someone believed in me, to a point right now whereby I'm trying to live a vision. 2 years from now is 2 years, 1 year from now. I'm really trying hard to build myself to a point of, can people buy my mind? Because I am at an exciting place whereby right now I'll be able to offer services, not simply because I'm brilliant, but simply because someone is paying for his or her services to me by buying my mind.
Right.
And 2 years from now, I want to escalate the knowledge I have to other people. In that, it really humbles me at times when people depend on me for them to pay bills. And and the push I have when that happens is I want to create opportunities for work for young people, opportunities for work for other people. And the only way I'm believing right now that I can be able to do that is by I position myself, nourishing myself, refreshing my mindset for people to buy my mind so that I can work on these particular projects. And the end result is, if I'm creating work for myself and creating work for other people, that's going to be primarily satisfactory for me. And that's what I really look at doing for the next 2 years. And maybe if I mean to add on it is my journey towards serving young people, my journey towards serving humanity, my journey towards speaking for development, because primarily on what I do again as a company does not only lie with me, it lies with others. And the only way I can serve others is probably when I can speak the gaps in water, when I can speak the gaps towards young people not accessing employment, when I can speak about the gaps that probably the African society is facing when it comes to governance. That's again what I do from the communication sessions that I speak on as a result of Kevin's, but through Branky. And I really hope that in 2 years, 3 years down the line, I'll be able to scale to a point that I can have footprints in Africa and also mentor as many young people as possible.
Well, if that's not inspirational, then I don't know what is. That was Kevin's Randiek, CEO, founder, partner, and all those fancy titles of Brand K Communications. Tried his hand out at almost everything: employment, being a taxi driver, to building this big empire that is reaping off benefits. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we have more inspiring entrepreneurs right here on Entrepreneurs Lounge. Welcome back to Entrepreneurs Lounge. Now, my next guest is Clara Wrenchini. She owns and runs a digital consultancy business known as Atom Digital, and she's going to tell us all about it. You're very welcome to the show, Clara.
Thanks, Ingrid.
I love it when I meet females doing these things that people would ideally think are a preserve of men.
Yeah.
So when we talk about Atom Digital, what are we talking about?
So ADA, which is Atom Digital Africa, is a digital consultancy business that mainly focuses on training and building capacity for corporates, or basically anyone who's working, empowering them to learn about digital skills and how to think about digital solutions, because then you see that digital solutions tend to be cheaper,
Right.
especially for small and medium-sized enterprises, which most Kenyans are doing right now.
Especially, I like that you mentioned which most Kenyans are doing right now, because
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot of businesses going into that space.
Yeah.
My question is then, how long have you been in existence, and how did you decide to go into this?
Okay, so we've been in existence for 1 year. I own and run it with 3 of my other colleagues. So we're all in the digital space, but majoring in different things. I focus on strategic planning and content marketing. My other colleagues focus on media planning. The other is an account manager, and we also have a creative director. So what we do is we go to corporates or rather SMEs and train the people on how to focus on digital first. So you find that a lot of businesses have a sales platform or have logistics and all these things. So what used to happen before is for each department you could get a system for each department, and that costs a lot of money.
Right.
So what we're training guys to do is how to leverage the digital landscape to save costs for their businesses, to market to the customers, and also deliver better services. Yeah.
I really like that, because then you said you focus on SMEs, and I feel like these are the businesses that really need to leverage on that, because as an SME you have a lot of challenges when it comes to finances and just really the operations. So going digital, I see how that can work. However, when it comes to sourcing your clientele, how do you go about that? Do you just go approaching SMEs? Do you get it as a means of referrals? How do you get the people you work with?
So you find, let me just backtrack a bit. We've been in the business for about 4 years. Before we now formed the company, right? So we have a huge network of clients, business clients, because the nature of our business is business to business. So what we do is we leverage on events, business events and networking events, because we realize that capacity building and training is a very integral part of organizations, and you can't leave it to chance of a mailer or an SMS, or it has to be a personal relationship. So what we do is we leverage on networking events, and then in terms of advertising, we focus on targeted ads to business owners, and we use LinkedIn as a platform, because then you see stuff like Google ads and social media marketing is very good for business to consumer marketing. But then our business is targeted towards the decision makers in the business, because guys in HR or the C-suite panel, they're the ones who gear the organization in the direction of training. So they choose to build the capacity of an organization, whether in digital, whether in the culture. So that's what we do. Another thing is we leverage on expos. So whenever there's an expo, we go there and talk to our potential clients. Yeah.
So you've been in the business 4 years, although formally for 1 year.
Yes.
Obviously, they've been curveballs, just as is in any business.
Yeah.
So what have been your greatest challenges, and maybe what sort of lessons have you drawn from this that are helping you with the normal day-to-day running of the business now as it is?
When we were first beginning, the main challenge was to get our clientele to understand the value of capacity building. It's so sad to see that the nature of our business these days focuses less on the people who work for you and more on the money. Yet you find that if you don't understand people, then you don't understand business. And moving forward,
because people are the business.
Yeah. So what we sell is empowerment. And you see, digital training is not, we don't train how to use Facebook or how to use Instagram. No, we train on how to leverage on digital platforms and solutions. That focuses on development, on content, on all the aspects. And we teach our clients to have an eye for these things, because we might not work with you for 30 years, but that employee might work there for 30 years. So they're the ones to make the change you need. So the first 2 years we struggled getting our clients, but then that also benefited us, and it sharpened our sales pitch. So then these past 2 years, the clients have been flowing in. I would say the challenge is just housekeeping in terms of payments. So you find that sometimes, which is sad, it's hard to follow up with clients in terms of payments, especially because they're not such a big corporation that people would now fear and whatnot. And also the 4 of us are quite young. So you find that we've had a bit challenges, but now since we got a full-time lawyer, he's been able to sort us out. Which are things you start learning as you're moving, especially if you've not been in the workforce for maybe 20 or 30 years. Yeah.
So you've mentioned the role the challenges have played in terms of sharpening your sales pitch.
Yeah.
And I like that because the industry that you're in, there's so many people who are also trying to go into that space because there's a gap.
Sure.
My question is then, how do you do it differently? What is this pitch you come with that the next person who's in the same industry as you will not come with?
Okay, the first thing we come with is the people. Because you see, if we claim to be a training company and we capacity build, we have to prove it, right? So we give case studies, which are usually confidential to our clients, and we give case studies on how their business has grown because of the capacity building. Because at the end of the day, it's the numbers that keep us afloat. So we show and prove how we can translate the training to the numbers. Secondly, it's because of who we are as people. The four of us have made our names quite well, and we've worked for clients who have very reputable personalities, and they've been able to vouch for us over this journey. You find that most people don't buy what I'm doing, they buy me as a person. They buy Clara, they buy Kelvin, they buy Ken.
Right.
So you find that if I don't sell me to my client, they won't buy it.
Right.
And I feel like that's the biggest difference we have. It's because of who we are, how we do things. And by how we do things, it just doesn't focus on the digital training, it focuses on the whole process. So what happens is, even after the training, we're close with our clients. If you need guidance, we're here to guide you. So then the training happens to be the what, but our relationship is the why. So you always find that you'll always have a digital partner in terms of capacity building, because in as much as you want to hire, or you hire people to do, or you outsource it, as a client, as a business owner, you need to understand what you're outsourcing so that you're able to measure if it's actually working, if it's not working. And that's what people forget. You hire someone to do something and you give 100% of the responsibility, while what we're offering is to help you build your capacity, even as a business owner, so that even when you're hiring, you understand the value you're getting from your agency, from your digital agency, from your advertising firm, or your outsourced marketing department.
Clara, finally, as we conclude, where do you want to see Atom Digital or ADA in the near future? What are your goals? What are your plans for the business?
So our goals, I would start with the next 5 years, because that's something we're really pushing for. What we want is to create a certification program where anyone in East Africa can be able to get certified without having to come to Nairobi, because then also distance is a hindrance to some of our clients. So we want to build the capacity of each and every East African in such a way that you don't start earning when you turn 18, because our economy needs to grow, and we can't always depend on the older generation to build that economy. We need to build the capacity of other young people. And how we do that is focusing on SMEs, because we've realized that most SMEs in Kenya are actually owned by the youth. So if we can build their capacity and they build other people's capacity and whatnot, it's a whole movement of people who are able to earn on their own, earn from wherever they are, and lastly be independent, because I think we all want to be independent in our lives.
Thank you very much for coming on to the show, Clara. You're doing amazing things.
Thank
Keep
you.
doing what you're doing. And I wish you all the best on this journey with your business, Atom Digital. We'll take a very quick break, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we have a lot more for you right here on Entrepreneurs Lounge. Welcome back to Entrepreneurs Lounge, and you're just in time for our quick fire round. Now, Clara Wrenchini, in our quick fire round, what happens is I ask 5 very general questions, and by general I mean trivia. Questions you would never even dream about. Like, even though you were studying the entire night, I promise you, you did not study these 5 questions that I'm about to ask you. It's just basically to test your general knowledge. How much do you remember from grade school? How much do you remember from high school? Or how much do you even know? How much do you read? How much do you watch TV? So I'll ask you 5 questions, and the trick is to get the most answers correct. So when I ask a question, don't wait for me to cue you, just shout out the correct answer. The person who shouts it out first gets a point. If the person shouts out the wrong answer and you know the right answer, shout out the right answer, and I'll keep awarding points to the correct answers, and then we'll tally it up at the end and have either a quick fire king or queen. Any questions, guys? We should get right into it. Quick fire question number 1.
Who starts?
See, no one starts. I ask the question. If you know the answer, you shout out the answer.
But there's supposed to be 5 each.
No, there are 5 in general.
Oh,
So the person who gets the highest 5. So if you get all 5,
Okay.
so the person who answers first gets a point.
All right.
Does it make sense now?
Makes sense.
Randiek, are you sure?
I am.
Okay.
You
Quick.
know, this is a time for you to make me a blonde.
This is it. This is what I'm here for. Quick fire question number 1.
Okay.
Which rodent first appeared on desktops in January
Cockroach.
1983? Pardon? Yes.
A rodent?
Did you just say cockroach?
I thought you were saying an insect.
First of all, listen to me.
No, my processing was slow, you know.
Actually, your processing was too quick. You didn't even let me get the question out.
All right, Clara.
Can I say the question again so you really feel
she already
blunt?
has it. Let's go the second one, man.
I even attached it to desktops. Randiek, come on. But Clara, yes, that's a point to you. Question number
right. Cockroach, mouse?
Cockroach? Come on. Question number 2.
Okay.
Which product was the first to appear in a TV commercial in 1955?
Coca-Cola.
No. So it's used for teeth. It has something to do with teeth. Which product? No. The general term for the guys.
Toothpaste.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No, you guys are playing like girls, no?
First of all, Colgate, Aquafresh, Close Up, guys, toothpaste. 2 points
It's a girl thing.
to. It's not a girl thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 2 points to Clara. Randiek.
No, it's all right.
You need to catch up now.
Okay, let me try.
Question number 3.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, those TV shows used to be known as soaps, right? You know the soaps I'm talking about, like,
sure.
oh, I'm going to watch my favorite soap. Why were they referred to as soaps? Why did they all come to be generally known as soaps? You know, like The Bold and the Beautiful, The Young and the Restless. They're all back in the day shows, but they were generally termed as soaps.
Yeah.
How did they come to be known as soaps?
Because it ruled their concept of it.
No.
That's a girl thing. You asked me a girl question. I don't
Oh my
answer.
God! Fine, I'll tell you. I'll tell you, Randiek.
Okay, give me a hint.
And I'll no, the hint is already soaps.
Because honestly, I don't know that.
So the answer is, back in the day, all these TV shows were sponsored by soap companies. So, you know, whenever you go to ads, it was always soap companies. So they generally just came to be known as soaps. So 2 points to Clara. Randiek here to
Zero.
catch up. Randiek, this one is yours.
Okay.
What's in computer language? What's LAN in full?
LAN. Local area network.
I knew this was yours.
You see, that's kind of, you know,
Right.
something you connect.
Okay, fine. 2 points to Clara, 1 point to Randiek. You can still catch up.
Contrary to the toothpaste, and the other one was.
Oh my God,
It's-
fine.
She was very brilliant.
Okay, the final question. This
Okay.
is this is the deciding question now, guys.
Sure.
What is the capital city of South Sudan?
Juba.
It's a tie. Fine. So 1.5 points to Randiek, 2.5 points to Clara, and our quick fire round winner is Clara. Good game, guys. Good game. Randiek claims it was rigged to the in favor of
I'm a firm believer of the girl child power. So
She deserved it.
yeah, she deserved it.
Well, congratulations,
Thank
Clara,
you.
our quick fire round winner. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show, but as usual, you can keep the conversation going on our social media pages at Metropole TV KE on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. As usual, we've been shooting at Dotage Home and Exclusive Furniture in Westlands on Parklands Road. Thank you very much for joining us, and don't go anywhere because there's a lot more programming coming your way on Metropole TV.